have been at Cal State Fullerton for 3.5 years. Before that, I worked as a project administrator for an architecture firm. And before that, I was a food service director for a school district in Mackay, Idaho, central Idaho. In 2000, the Idaho State Department of Child Nutrition gave me and my staff the 2000 Gold Star Award for having the best school nutrition program in the state.
Perfect. That's wonderful. That is wonderful. So Kathy, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you're going to cook for us today? We're excited.
Okay, so I have had homemade pizza ever since I was a little girl because my mom made it at home. She would use the Pillsbury hot roll mix.
Okay.
You can still buy Pillsbury hot roll mix today. And on the back of the box is how to make homemade cheese pizza. Homemade cheese pizza, all you have to do is add other toppings and you've got whatever pizza that you'd like to have.
Right. And we love our pizza. So there's nothing like making our pizza and having it for lunch. So we're excited to see what you've got in store for us.
So there's more than one way to make a crust. So you can use the box crust, you can use the pre-made crust that you can get in the store. You can use a hoagie bun and put the sauces and all your toppings on a bun and toast it. You can make it from scratch.
Okay, so that's probably more like me, I like the quick one. So I'll probably just cut it open and get started. But you're going to show us the chef way. Go ahead.
Another quick way is you just make 2 pizzas and you have pizza the next morning with the second pizza.
Okay.
So the first thing that you do when you make pizza is you turn on the oven. So
yeah, that would help. That would help a little bit.
At this point, it's 375. Then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make pizza sauce. And so part of the, I was talking to my daughter about comfort food. And this pizza for our family is comfort food because I keep everything in the pantry, either in the freezer or in the dry goods. So I can make pizza at any time. So there's ways that you do that. And you always have 8-ounce cans of tomato sauce on hand. So you're going to make the pizza sauce with tomato sauce, 2 cloves of garlic, 2 tablespoons of Italian seasoning, a half a teaspoon of oregano, and a half a teaspoon of basil.
And don't worry, viewers, we have that recipe for you.
Yeah. And then you stir it up, and then you put it on the burner, and you put it on medium, and you kind of watch it because it's going to start bubbling and then it's going to, it can burn really fast.
Well, that's good to know because I do keep that jar of that on hand because I don't have pizza sauce. So that's good to know. We can make our own really quick. Great.
You can, for pizza sauce, you can use spaghetti sauce, your favorite spaghetti sauce. I have personally been going more toward Trader Joe's bruschetta. I like how this is chunky. And I like the flavors on this. So this is this is what I'm going to use today. But I just wanted to show you that you don't have to buy a can of pizza sauce. You can make it yourself.
Great.
So then,
probably less calories too.
Yeah. And then here's the dough.
Okay, I think she has dough already made for us. Let's see. I think I'll probably be using the bread, but I want to see the dough too. There you go.
So before
stir that pot. Don't
I gotta turn the sauce down already.
All right.
So my mom would make pizza crust, and all it requires is being in a bowl. When I went away to college in Philadelphia and then Eugene, because my degree is interior architecture, you can't go out to pizza all the time. You have to learn how to make it. So I would make it traditionally by hand. And then in 93, I got my KitchenAid stand mixer. with its dough hook. And then your tools are what makes cooking easier and enjoyable. So I have my KitchenAid mixer. This is my second bread machine. My first one died after 25 years. And then you can do it traditionally. And the instructions for all of those are in the recipe.
So that's good. So I don't have to have a dough machine,
No.
a bread machine, or a big fancy mixer to make it. That's good to know.
Now,
Okay.
all you have to have is a bowl and a wooden spoon.
Sounds
So,
good.
but if there is things that you want to know about when you go to the store, if you're not getting a package mix or buying, pre-made crusts, you're going to get yeast. And there's two kinds of yeast now. There is a yeast that is made for bread machines, and you put the bread machine or rapid rise yeast in at the last on top of flour. The original active dry yeast you put in the very beginning with water and then sugar. Let it sit for 5 minutes, let it soften, let it start to bubble, and then you add the flour to it.
Okay, so Kathy, your background in architecture is perfect for this because you're building the pizza. Now, for those of us that don't, those yeast packages come with instructions that are easy to follow? Pretty much, yes.
The active dry yeast is not recommended for recipes that call for instant or rapid rise yeast. All of the instructions on how to make bread will also tell you, what you need, the steps you need to go through to get this done. So,
so how's that sauce doing back there? Is it done?
it's you're smelling it. It's almost.
I smell it.
Yeah, it's almost big enough.
We have a new technology now. It's called smell-o-vision. You guys, I think everybody can smell it right now.
Yeah.
I'm smelling it right now. Pizza sounds good for me.
So I'm going to show you how to make the crust, but I need to take the crust that I made for the demonstration out. So I have a tile countertop, and I don't want my pan to slide on it. So I take a dishcloth, I wet it, and then I put my Pampered Chef stone on it. And then I'm going to spray the stone. If it was a cookie sheet, I'd be spraying that too.
Okay.
Then I'm going to pull the dough out of the pan and drop it on the cookie sheet.
Okay, make sure you get all that dough out of there, because that's almost the best part of the pizza sometimes.
And make sure you get the paddle out.
I see you spray the little pan on your hands. Do you ever use flour sometimes?
Flour will cause the dough to get stiffer.
Oh.
And so in this case, I don't want the dough to get any more stiffer than it is. So I will spray my hands and spray the dough to just make it malleable.
Very good.
Okay,
That's
so
a good tip. I didn't know that.
I'm gonna, so that's the dough for now, but just to start the dough next, and I can really smell the pizza sauce now. So I'm gonna turn it off.
Me too.
Okay, so making pizza dough in the bread machine. You take 1 cup of water. You take 1/4 cup of extra virgin olive oil.
Uh-oh, somebody's going to have extra pizza later on today too.
And then you're going to take 3 cups of flour and you're going to spoon sift it. Spoon sifting is a way to, you're not going to just dig in, pull out the flour, and and knock it off. There's too much flour in here. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna take a heaping spoon, and then you're gonna shake it into the cup until it's full.
So what does that make it lighter, or there's more air in it?
Yes. Okay. So it's not dense.
Okay, I didn't know that.
So we're gonna go, and then just
close it off. Okay.
Close it off. So there's one.
I didn't know about the shaking of the spoon, so that's good to know. All right.
2.
Oh my goodness, that's a lot of flour. So for you WW viewers out there, it's probably only half a point. I'm just kidding.
Now, this is
I am kidding. It is not. But you know what? By the time you portion out the slices of the pizza, you're good to go, you guys. So don't worry.
okay. There's the 3rd. Now, I like flavor in my crust, and so to make the crust work, you have to add 1 teaspoon of sugar. This is for the feed the yeast. You're going to do 1 teaspoon of salt. That's also a leavening agent. I want to add a little flavor to it, so I'm going to use garlic salt.
Oh, nice.
And then I really like my garlic. It's a pizza, so I'm adding granulated garlic. And then it's Italian, so I'm going to add Italian seasoning. And then the very last thing I'm going to do, since this is a bread machine, I'm going to add the yeast to the top. It's the last ingredient. If we were doing this in the traditional method, yeast and water would be the very first 2 ingredients.
Okay, got it.
And then I'm going to put it in my bread machine.
All right. You're going to come back. I hope you turn the fire off of that pot with the sauce.
So I have my helper, my daughter Elizabeth. She's going to get it in there. So
okay.
we have the crust. It's ready to go. To be light and healthy, one of the best ways you can do is reduce the amount that you're eating. I had always made my pizza crust with a single, go ahead and hit start, a single recipe. And my daughter says, they're too thick. Could you please make them thinner? So what I do is I kind of make it into a roll and cut it in half.
Okay.
So, and then I'm going to set this aside and use it for a second pizza, or use it for calzone, or use it for breadsticks.
Okay.
So now I'm going to take this, and it's got a little bit of oil on it. I'm going to press it out. And I'm going to use my
Your rolling pin. Nice.
my marble rolling pin.
Very nice. Now, if you don't have a rolling pin, I see you were able to kind of mush it out and smash it out with your hand. So
Yeah.
you can just do that as well if you don't have a rolling pin, looks like.
It is thin. It does, once you start taking it out of the bread machine or where you've had it proofed, it starts getting cold. When it starts getting cold, then that means it can get holy and it can tear. So
Okay.
you just want to, if it tears and you have a hole, just kind of grab some dough from someplace else and push it over.
Oh, I think it just makes it a custom pizza. I love it. It's like a custom pizza now. Perfect. It's
All
not
right,
gonna be perfect.
I'm going to use my bruschetta, and my hands are so greasy I can't open the jar.
All that pan on there. We're waiting with bated breath. Get that sauce on there, Kathy.
And see how it's chunky? So
Right.
it's got, the flavorings in it. I'm only going to use about half a jar because I want to be able to use the other half of the jar on the second dough.
Okay.
So I'm going to spread that around.
What I like about pizza is whatever you like, you can top it off with, right?
Right. So that's kind of how we get to, a lot of times we get into cooking by baking. We want some cookies. So we'll learn how to bake first. And then we'll go to a restaurant and we like something that we have at the restaurant. Right now, for me, it's Thai basil chicken. I'm trying to figure out how to make Thai basil chicken. So, so then with pizza, you go to a pizza parlor. What kind of pizza do you like? And then you start buying those toppings so that you can put it on. So then the next thing is, this is my husband and I, by trial and error, we found out that the best way to make a pizza is to put 3 kinds of meats on it. So you don't always have everything at once, but pepperoni, I can keep in the freezer.
Okay.
Italian dry salami, reduced fat, I can keep in the freezer. We always have lean ham, so I have that in the refrigerator. And then we have, we like to have cheese and crackers with salami or salmon. So we usually have a summer sausage in the house. And so you can cut that up. The key about having different varieties is that you don't have to put as much on to get your flavor.
Oh, okay. I was just about to ask you why so many toppings, but that's a good idea. Thank you. And you mentioned, I think we learned last week in an episode that you can freeze cheese, and I understand you said the same thing to me, that you freeze your cheese as well.
I can't get this.
And you know what? If you had some chicken left over from the day before, you can slice that and put it on there as well, right?
Mm-hmm. So I'm going to put, one way to make pizza healthier is you put less of the high calorie stuff on it. So I'm going to just really lightly put on the salami. Then I'm going to put on the pepperoni in between. I'm not going to stack them.
Oh, okay.
So it's just going to be in the holes. And then my dad was a meat cutter. He retired as a meat cutter. My grandfather was a meat cutter. So my dad has made sausage, but in our family, we like Jimmy Dean. So we get a chub of Jimmy Dean. They usually are about $5 a pound. That's a little high. So what happens is that they go on sale at Thanksgiving time, and they will be 2 for $5 or $3.99 or something, you know, cheaper than the regular price. So I will buy 25 chubs. If you can only buy 6 at a time, I'll buy 6, and my husband will go in the next day and he'll buy 6, and so we'll buy them and have them in the freezer, so they're always there. So now we've got the meats assembled, and I like to put the sausage on last because it's not flat. If you put the sausage down first and then try to put the sliced salami on top of it,
really, yes,
it's a mess. So then we're going to put on the vegetables. And so vegetables are going to be olives. Again, the olives.
Kathy, when you layer all these different items on there, when it's cooked and you go to cut it, is it still kind of mountainy, or does it flatten out a little bit?
Yeah. Yeah. It flattens out a little bit, but it's still rough.
Chunky.
So right. I am a dyed in the wool Costco Good Sam's Club shopper. So you can buy a can of olives for $1.20, or you can buy these huge bags of Lindsay olives and then divide them up into the size that you want. And for me, for pizza, it's 3/4 of a cup. Okay. These freeze. They freeze wonderfully. So again, another reason why I would have pizza fixings in the pantry, because this is in the freezer.
So Kathy, it sounds like you can freeze most of that. What about yeast, those little packages? Can you freeze that? Do you know
Yes.
what that freezes?
Yeah,
Really?
you buy a 1 pound package of yeast, put it in the freezer, and then just pour out what you need into a jar. And then when this is empty, defrost some more, put it in the freezer.
Nice. So you actually can make pizza anytime, as long as you have your flour and all the other little sugar and stuff to go.
Right.
Well, that looks delicious. I know who's going to make pizza for us when we get back into the office.
So I want olives, then a half a cup of onions.
Okay, so this meal, you don't even need a salad with this meal because I think this is going to be filling enough. Oh my
And
goodness.
then a half a cup of peppers. You can use red peppers, yellow, orange. I don't care for green, so I don't do green. My husband does not like a whole lot of mushrooms, so we only do 4 to 6 mushrooms.
Okay. What kind of mushrooms are those?
Those are bellas. I don't buy white buttons anymore. They're only bellas.
Okay. So, Kathy, is that thin crust gonna hold up with all those ingredients on it?
Oh yeah.
All right.
Yeah. And then you have we like artichoke hearts, and they are kept in oil, so they stay in the refrigerator for a long time. You'll eat these up in either spinach artichoke dip and pizzas before they'll ever go bad. If you want to go lower fat for the artichokes, you can use frozen artichokes, and you can also, along with the sausage and the artichokes, because they're in oil, you can rinse them and drain them.
So you know what, Kathy, this brings me to something where we talked about quick and easy, healthy meals, and some people probably are thinking, the pizza is not healthy. Well, by the time you put all those things on there, you can only have a little corner because you're going to get so full. It's not going to be a whole lot of calories for you. So that's great.
You've already saved calories because you've taken away half of the dough.
Right.
You've already saved calories because you're using reduced fat salami. The mozzarella is part skim. You can get total, a non-fat mozzarella, but they're hard to find. And again, I want to have something on hand all the time. So I'll buy 5-pound bags. These are 2.5-pound bags of mozzarella at Costco. And then I'll divide them into 1-pound bags so that when I pull this out of the freezer, I know half of this goes on my pizza, the first one, the other half goes on the second one. So again, I'm dividing the cheese that I normally put on this and having the calories.
That's excellent. That's excellent. It's just amazing how many things you can freeze.
You can freeze red peppers. You can freeze onions. You can freeze bread. So you can freeze the pepperoni, the salami, the Jimmy Dean. You can freeze it all.
That's wonderful.
And then I put on the half a pound of cheese.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I know everybody's mouth is watering. Everybody's going to go run out and make pizza. Now, remember, you guys, if you can't make the dough or you choose not to, you want it, faster, you can always use like a roll, a French roll, right, Kathy?
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
Oh, and look how she
Or you can use English muffins. You can put them on English muffins.
And have little mini pizzas.
Yeah. So then what I saw this on Guy Fieri's drive-in, drive-ins, whatever. Yeah. So because he has a lot of people making pizza on his show, and some of them will take the cheese and just mush it down. And that's taking the air out of it. And so that when it melts, it's melting more all together. So my oven is working. I'm going to put it in the oven and start cooking it.
So Kathy, how long would a pizza that size take?
25 minutes.
I'm sorry, 25?
25. So with the key is how it's fast. Back up. Is that when you use a bread machine, the bread machine costs $100. And for me, my bread machine lasted 25 years. So you prorate that out and it's, you know, $10 a year. Why I like the bread machine is that you dump all the materials in it, put it in, forget it.
Right.
And then it has to be, it'll be done in 90 minutes. So you want dinner at 6 o'clock. It's going to take a half an hour to cook the pizza. It's going to take a half an hour to assemble the pizza. So that's 5:30, 5 o'clock. You need to have the pizza dough 90 minutes before 5 o'clock. So that means your pizza dough has to be in the machine started by 3:30 in order to have dinner at 6.
Right. Now, Kathy, we've got about 4 minutes left. So real quick so if you're going to make it on individual, like French rolls, how long do you think that will take in the oven?
You would cut it, you would cook it until the cheese on the edge is brown. Wow. And the cheese in the center is just golden.
Okay. All right.
So because round pizza pans are kind of a pain in the butt to store. I've had round stones, I've had round pizza pans, and they're the first thing that goes. I made pizza for 150 kids at the school district, and we would do them in the cookie sheets. And you would give them a triangle. So what would happen is that the cookie sheet is cut into thirds, and then it's cut into half. And then you cut those rectangles in half, and then that becomes your pizza. So
that's great. Wow, Kathy, that pizza looks delish. Oh my goodness. Pizza for lunch.
Yeah. And then also by doing that, it's kind of meaning that not everybody gets the crust. You know, so
right.
And so you're sharing the crust a little bit.
And that pizza, that crust held up with all those ingredients too, just like you said. Wow, that's fantastic. Wow, you know what? Do we have any time for questions? Anybody want to ask a question or two before we go? I want to thank Kathy so much. Kathy, that looks delicious. Oh my gosh, I can smell it.
Kathy, what bread machine do you use?
The one that I have now is a Cuisinart, and the neat thing about that is that it has a timer on it, so that if I am gone in the morning, I want my bread dough to start at 3 o'clock, the timer will start it. So when I get home from work, the dough is done. I don't have to wait another 90 minutes.
Okay. Very nice. Nice.
So do you use the pre-packaged dough, or do you make all of your dough fresh with flour and all that for the bread machine?
I make my dough with the bread machine, because that means that I have all the ingredients and I don't have to go to the store for it.
Okay.
So Kathy, I have a follow-up question to that. If we were to use that box, do you put the box mix into the bread machine or no?
No.
Okay.
No, the instructions for that is just to use it in a bowl.
Oh, got it. Okay.
It's kind of like biscuity, you know.
Okay. Perfect. Wow. Anyone have any other questions for Kathy, for Chef Kathy today? No questions? Well, Kathy, we just want to thank you so much for sharing your time and your recipe and all your tips for us today. And we thank you all very much for joining us. We hope you join us again next Wednesday, same time, same place. And join us for our next guest chef. Thank you so much. Bye, everyone. Have a wonderful day. Go have you some pizza.